Hello, how are you? Today, I want us to discuss about mechanism of gaseous exchange in a bony fish. So, in this session, we shall discuss about how fish inhales and exhales. We shall discuss the mechanism of gaseous exchange, that is, how the fish extracts oxygen from water. I hope you will enjoy. You will be guided by me, your tutor, Mr. Nyamawi Juma of War Girls High School. Welcome and enjoy. Before we go to the business of the day, let us first of all have a view of this small video.
Fish are aquatic animals. Water contains oxygen dissolved in it. Depending on temperature and other factors, the level of dissolved oxygen in water is about 4 to 15 milligrams per liter. Fish extract this dissolved oxygen from the surrounding water by a process called aquatic respiration. Fish have specialized structures called gills to carry out exchange of gases with water. The gills are located on either side of the head of fish, behind the mouth cavity. In bony fish, the gills are covered by a hard bony flap called operculum. It is also known as gill cover. In cartilaginous fish, the operculum is lacking and the individual openings to gills are called gills. During the process of exchange of gases, a fish first gulps water through its mouth. At the time of the intake of water, the mouth opens while the operculum remains closed. The fish then closes its mouth and opens the operculum to force the water out through the gill. The color of the gills is dark red or brown red because of the presence of a large number of blood capillaries in it. These capillaries come in close to the current of water across gills. Blood absorbs the dissolved oxygen from the water by diffusion. The unique structure of the gills ensures that they absorb most of the oxygen dissolved in the water that is passing between them. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses out of the gill capillaries into the water. The water containing carbon dioxide is expelled through the open operculum. Besides being the respiratory organs, the gills also play an important role in maintaining the balance of salts in fish. Fishes like bluegill, seahorse, lionfish, Atlantic cod possess the hard cover of operculum. The best example of a fish having no operculum is shark. All the species of shark lack operculum and have only gill slits.
Thank you. So, what have you learned in this video? What have you observed? Probably, your answer is that fish extract oxygen from water. Fish extract oxygen from water. And it has got some specialized structure which permit gaseous exchange to take place. And these structures are called the gills. If you are keen, you saw of the fish opening the mouth drawing water in, then water passes through the gills and gaseous exchange occurs at the gills. That is what we want to describe today. So, what is the general mechanism of gaseous exchange in fish? Now, during inhalation, that is, taking water into the mouth, the first thing that happens is that the fish opens the mouth. The floor of the mouth is lowered. The volume of the mouth cavity increases, but pressure reduces, causing water to be drawn into the mouth cavity or the buccal cavity. Now, the opercular cavity bulges. That is, the operculum bulges, but the flap, the operculum, remains pressed on the body, remaining closing, hence preventing water from passing or leaving through the opening. The volume of the gill chamber increases, but pressure decreases, hence allowing water to move from the mouth cavity to the gill chamber over the gill filaments. So, as the water passes through the gills, gaseous exchange occurs in the gills. That is, as the water passes over the gills, oxygen, which is highly concentrated in the water, diffuses from the water through the gill filaments into the blood capillaries alongside concentration gradient. In a similar way, carbon 4 oxide diffuses from the capillaries into the water. Because in the capillaries, carbon 4 oxide is highly concentrated than the water in the gill chamber. Therefore, it passes out from the capillaries into the water alongside concentration gradient. Now, how does the bony fish exhales? So during exhalation, the fish closes its mouth, the floor is raised, the floor of the mouth is raised. Okay. The volume of the mouth cavity reduces, but pressure increases, forcing water to be pushed to the gill chambers. The operculum presses inwards. Okay. The operculum presses inwards, hence the volume of the gill cavity reduces, but pressure increases. Okay, so water is forced out of the gill chamber through the opercular openings. That is the process of exhalation and inhalation in a bony fish. Let us have this illustration so that you understand well. We have said that during inhalation first, the mouth cavity or the mouth of the fish first of all opens the mouth, the floor of the mouth lowers. This increases the volume of the buccal cavity, but the pressure inside here reduces. Water from the surrounding rushes into the mouth cavity. Okay? Then the opercular bulges out, while the free end of this operculum remains pressed against the wall of the fish. This increases the volume of the gill chamber. Okay? But pressure inside decreases. Hence, water moves from the mouth cavity to the gill chamber. So, as water passes across or through the gill chamber, gaseous exchange occurs, as you can see here. Gaseous exchange occurs. Good. So, what happens during exhalation? The following events occurs. The fish closes its mouth and the floor of the mouth raises. Therefore, the volume of the mouth reduces but pressure increases. At the same time, the operculum, that is the covering which covers the gills, presses inwards, hence reducing the volume of the opercular cavity, but pressure inside the opercular cavity increase. Therefore, water is forced to move out of the opercular cavity through the open or the free end of the operculum here. Is it clear? So as the water rushes through the gill chamber, oxygen diffuses into the blood vessels, because in the water, oxygen is highly concentrated than the blood. Therefore, oxygen diffuses into the blood capillaries. At the same time, carbon dioxide, which is highly concentrated in the blood capillaries, will tend to diffuse into the water. Okay? Hence, gaseous exchange occurs here. Have you understood? Good. So, what have you learned today? Now, something that you should also note is that the water movement or the flow of water over the gill is in opposite direction to the flow of blood in the blood capillaries. The water flow over the gill in opposite direction to the blood flow. This type of movement where fluids flow in opposite direction is what is called counter-current flow. The purpose of counter-current flow is to facilitate concentration, or to maintain concentration gradient, hence to facilitating gaseous exchange to take place. Okay, let us actually have a look at this particular diagram. I'll zoom in. Okay. For us to understand the concept of counter-current flow, you have to pay attention to this particular diagram. We've said counter-current flow refers to the flow where fluids move in opposite or flow in opposite direction. For instance here, the water which passes through the gill filaments flows in one direction, while the blood flows in opposite direction. The reason for the reason for this is to facilitate or maintain concentration, a steep concentration gradient, hence facilitating gaseous exchange. Look keenly here. When the water comes into contact with the gill filament, it has got 100% oxygen. Okay. On the other hand, when blood comes to the gill, it has got very little oxygen concentration. So as the water moves following this direction, the blood flows in the opposite direction. Okay. So this maintains, or this ensures, that at any given time there will be higher oxygen concentration in water than in blood. Okay, like here there is the blood here, the water here is 100% concentrated with oxygen. Here the blood is 90%. Okay. Therefore, there is that steep concentration gradient. Oxygen will diffuse from where it is highly concentrated in water to where it is lowly concentrated in the blood capillaries, hence facilitating gaseous exchange. Is it clear? So what is countercurrent flow? Probably you might have said that it refers to the flow of blood and water in opposite direction. What is the purpose of countercurrent flow? This one is to maintain concentration gradient. Okay.